Let's do some really easy pinup makeup. No, not this. I know, this is a lot, right? Like, we've got a lot going on here. Much easier than this. I'll show you how to do this too, but we're gonna start way easier than this. Oh, I know. Aren't the earrings so cute? It's because I'm getting ready for the Texas Route 66 Festival. I'll be hosting the Pinup Pageant, and so I figured, why not go over some pinup makeup? It is so much easier than you think it's gonna be, I promise. I know this is a lot because I've built up to this. I'm gonna show you some really easy ways to do pinup makeup that will not overwhelm you. They're gonna get you excited about it. You're gonna wanna try all of it, and who knows, you may just end up taking it this far. But you certainly don't have to. One of the best things you can do for your eye area, especially prepping for your makeup, is use these little silicone eye masks. I love to apply my eye cream or moisturizer. Oftentimes I will literally just use my CeraVe lotion and then slap these on, and it really, really hydrates the under eye area. It looks like I have no lines. I'm gonna just take these off. It looks like I have no lines when all that moisture is really pushed in, versus if I don't use these or I'm out in the sun for a long time and I'm doing that number, or if I'm on the computer, you can really see those fine lines. Using these silicone eye masks really makes all that moisture sink in, and I find this extra good for when you're doing pinup makeup because you're often working with a sharp cat eye, that wing liner, or you're just really needing to work with getting a straight line. Even if you're just using eyeshadow, you need to have as smooth a surface as you can if you want it to be easy. If you're really experienced, it's not a big deal. But for me, I do have some fine lines, and I have hooded eyes, which means that my lid my skin up here comes down over my lid. So if I'm just relaxed and I look straight at camera, I have like very little lid space. A lot of people don't have this extra skin or fatty stuff in here. It's more like that on a lot of people where you can see more of the lid. But for me, because I have that fold, I have to deal with a lot of extra skin and really being precise. So I love to use these to keep my eyes super hydrated, keep everything really smooth. Also, you want to prep your lips. So I love CeraVe ointment. This is pretty much like Aquaphor. They're virtually the same thing. I just watched a review about this many years ago, and the doctors I was watching preferred this a little bit over Aquaphor. Anyways, I love it. I think maybe I'm just sick of Aquaphor. It's been around since I was like so young. I will smother my lips prior to starting my makeup. I will put so much on and I let it soak while I do everything else. So I want to show you how I do my makeup for real. I'm not going to glamorize this. I always keep a little towel. This one has been used for years for my makeup. It's all stained up and stuff, even when I wash it. But I keep this nearby to just wipe off excess product or whatever. So I'm gonna start with my brows. I don't know why, that's just kind of where I've been lately. I've really been loving the NYX brow glue, right? Yeah, the brow glue. And I really like the Urban Decay Slick Day Brow. Yeah, Slick Day Brow. This one, I really, really love the applicator because you can like comb up under the brow. But I do feel like this one holds a little bit better. So, it's really up to you which one you use. And make sure I really coat the hairs because my brow hairs, especially on this side, they love to just flop down. Now, pinup brows were not big and bushy, so I would advise not doing big bushy brows because it's just not as of that time period. But again, pinup is your jam. You can make it be whatever you want it to be. I love to make mine bushy initially, so I brush everything upward, again, because my brow hairs tend to fall. And just look at the difference of how much more open this eye looks than this one. I have amazing eye spacing as is, like from the top of my eye to my brow bone. I'm not lacking in space, but I do love that this pulls it up even more. And then I go in with these tiny little brushes. Then I'll go through and go more at an angle. And I like to keep my brows a little bit on the skinnier side when I'm doing vintage looks. I'll go a little more fluffy if I'm doing 80s, but even then I don't tend to do like too heavy of a brow. Because we're gonna be doing more of like a dainty wing liner, even if we do a heavier one, I don't want the brow to overpower everything else that's going on the eye. I feel like the focus of the face really should be the wing liner and the red lips. Even if you don't do a big wing, if you have like a wing lash, you just want it to be more focused on like the definition of the eye and the red lip. But again, if you really want to go for it with the brows, do it. And then I usually go and just kind of tap the ends to really push them down. Next, I'm gonna go in with my concealer. I just take a kind of peachy toned concealer to counteract that cool tone. And I take mine up into this area here because you can sort of see that darkness in there before I apply it. And that just really helps open up the eye. This is not something you have to do, it's just something I choose to do to open my eyes up more. And I like to use a little pointy brush like this because it allows me to really get in there. There's not that much product on this, it looks like it because my brush is very dirty. But I did not put much at all. And I am just lightly feathering that over some darkness out there. And you'll notice I'm not going all the way up to my eye line. When I put the concealer all the way up, I feel like it gets rid of some of that darkness that kind of helps define my eyes. So I'm just going there, and then I'm gonna just go with my finger and push it into the skin. And because my eye area is so well moisturized, I'm not getting any weird texture or anything. This really, really helps the product blend into your skin seamlessly. When you get dry in that area, if you try to do this or even use a brush, sometimes it can start looking cakey pretty quick. And then just because I have so much redness on my nose, I think it's because I have to wear glasses so much now. Womp womp. I'm just gonna take what's left on here. I'm not adding anything else. And I'm literally just covering up the redness just to get some nice even skin tone around my eyes. I feel like it's a little less distracting that way. One thing I also like to do for a little anti-aging, I guess, I don't like to talk about. I hate that I even do this, but because I still model for a living, I do have to be a little more mindful of these things. If I weren't modeling, I don't know that I would care, but I am noticing I'm starting to get some shadow like in the jowl area, I guess, and then a little bit here is more of a giveaway of my that I'm in my 30s and I'm not in my 20s anymore. So sometimes what I'll do is I will take a little bit of the concealer that's left on here, remember, because it's peachy toned, and I used it to counteract the darkness here. I'm gonna pop it where I have shadows, which is mainly here. There. Now you can see it, right? You can see those creases and a little bit here. I can see it here now. You just gotta get like your face out of the light. So this is a good thing to do. If you have like any things like that that you want to cover up or conceal. So there, I see the shadow. Just popping a little bit there. And again, that's not getting rid of it. I'm just adding a little extra just because I can. If you're not using primer, I don't even know what you're doing with your life at this point. Maybe you don't need it, but look, I always use it on myself and I always use it on my clients. I literally never don't use primer. I always use primer on everybody. This is my favorite one. This is just the Urban Decay All Nighter. I feel like this is very classic, tried and true. And I have one that I got from a friend. It was already like halfway gone when I got it, but this is Ulta Beauty's tinted eye primer. I really like this one, and I feel like this one's really good for pinup stuff because it has a shimmer in it already. This one is a more invisible type thing. This one, I'm gonna show you what it looks like because it's so pretty. And this color is Satin Blush. I've never filmed like this before, so bear with me if I look like a psycho. I do like to put the primer all the way up to my brow hairs and then kind of along the area where I'll be drawing out, lengthening my eyebrow, extending my eyebrow. That's the word I was looking for, extending. And the reason that I do my concealer first is because sometimes if I do my concealer after my primer, it just gets kind of gunky and weird, but I find if I do my concealer first and then eye primer, it works fine, it looks okay. I don't know why, it just does. I actually meant to do all my foundation and everything first before I started doing my eyes, but whatever. Whether you do your eyebrows before or after your liner is up to you. I like to do my brows first because it kind of gives me like a guideline for where to go with my wing. I get a little lost in the sauce because I do have quite a bit of spacing between my top of eye or corner and my eyebrow. So I feel like if I get my eyebrow on first, it just gives me a little more direction with my wing. This did not used to be as much of a problem, but I'm trying to be real with you. The older I get and the more hooded my eyes get and the more fine lines I get over here, I have to work with that and it's harder. So, you know, little hacks like that help me. I like to start on the tail and then work my way in because I like the most definition and depth of color towards the outside, and then I kind of feather it in softly as I get closer to the center because I don't want anything harsh in the center of my face. I like everything in the center to be very soft. That's not a rule. That's a personal preference. So if you like your stuff more defined, a little darker in the center, that's okay. I personally don't. There have been times when I did like that. I just don't right now. I'm in a much softer phase of life with most stuff. And look, I have my eyebrows microbladed, so there's still some pigment under there, even though it's not fresh and perfect. I do have a little bit of a cheat, but look, brows can be real tricky. I'm struggling right now because the camera is in my way of my mirror, so hold on. And this is not where I perfect my brows, this is where I get the general shape. So they're not gonna match perfectly, I'm not gonna have them super defined, this is just where I'm getting the general shape. It's adding a little bit of a darker foundation because I feel so ghostly. And I'm gonna go in with the OG Too Faced palette. Now this is gonna be super easy pinup makeup, okay? Like, we're not doing anything complicated right now. I am going to only use this one here and this one here. I'm gonna take that same fluffy brush and go in this kind of bone color here, white chocolate. This is matte, all right? And again, just please remember you do not have to do exactly what I do, but this is how I do my makeup. So I usually start by packing that on my brow bone right underneath my eyebrow. Oh, I hate when I get these little stray hairs causing problems, good Lord. So I wanna keep my brow bone area more matte and let my lids pop. Because that primer is so pretty and sparkly, I could just blend this and work with that, but I want a little more sparkle. I also find that that primer is a little bit sticky, not bad, but just enough that I kind of feel it on my lids. So I'm gonna add this color. I'm gonna start packing it on the lid and just make sure I cover the entire lid area. Same thing on the other side. Blend that upward towards the brow bone, not all the way up, but blend it up into where I put that light matte color. For the eyeliner, I want to show you a very, very easy way to do a pinup wing with eyeshadow. You do not have to go in with a stark black eyeliner. You do not have to go, you can do just a little baby flick of a wing just with eyeshadow. It is so much easier. It's very simple and it's very forgiving. If you mess up, you can pretty much just wipe it off, blend it out, and go again. So if you're new to doing a wing liner, I highly advise you do this. If you do mess up with your eyeliner, however, there are plenty of ways you can clean it up. Just using concealer is a pretty easy way, or moisturizer. I really like moisturizer. I don't recommend a makeup remover because at that point, once you start getting makeup remover around your eye, if it bleeds onto the eyeliner that's there, it's gonna start breaking it down. And then if it's sitting on your skin and then you start putting other makeup on top, it's gonna break that makeup down. So I advise using a moisturizer to clean up your eyeliner mistakes, or a concealer, not makeup remover or wipe, because a makeup remover wipe has makeup remover in it. You know, if you have an eyebrow brush, you can use your eyebrow brush for this with this medium brown, because that's going to be our guide. We're going to get the shape and then we can darken it after. Get a pretty good amount there. Tap off the extra so we're not dropping eyeshadow all over our faces. You do not want to pull and draw your line, because what's going to happen is if you pull, draw your line, and then let go, it all drops down. It's the same concept as when you smile and put the blush on the apple of your cheek, and then you see, look at my finger, it drops down, and that's gonna age us, make us look more tired when things fall inward and downward. So do not do this and draw your line, especially if you have hooded eyes. This is what I like about the angle brush, is because it's angled, you can see where that angle is going. Slowly flick. You see the skin on my eye is barely moving. It's hard to get the color to stick in that area because I have so many folds, but I can see where I'm going with it, right? And then I will just use the tip, that little pointy tip, and kind of blend it. So then from there, now I'm gonna connect that to the corner of my eye and fill that in. I am just working from that outer corner to where I drew the line. I know it looks kind of crazy, huh? But this is reality. This is what it actually looks like when I do this. It's not perfect every time because of that hooded eyelid. And because I'm filming, This is the first time I filmed like this. I probably should have another mirror closer right here. There we go. And I am just going back and forth on that exact same line, just deepening it with the exact same color of brown. It's looking darker because I'm just putting more on top. Now I'm blending it in just a little bit. I'm going maybe a third of the way in on the eyelid. I'm not going all the way in. And then you see, I don't know if you can see, I got a little bit smudged up higher there, so it's not as crisp. I'm gonna just go in with this. This is just the other side of that fluffy brush. This is just a flat smudging brush. I'm gonna go in with that same color I used on the lid and kind of clean it up. Works sort of like an eraser. So now I have a pretty clean wing there. Before I do the other side, I just want you to take a look at the difference. So this eye is pretty nicely elongated. It's still soft, but I have more definition and it's elongated versus this side. It's not bad, it's just smaller and there's nothing pulling the eye out. There's no wing there. So even with an eyeshadow, you can really get some nice definition. This has concealer from like a few days ago. This is not even a clean, or like, I have no fresh concealer on this. You could totally just use a clean brush, but I'm gonna just go and clean that up in the direction that I want the eyeliner to go, which is up. Now we're gonna darken that up. So now I'm gonna go in with that dark brown, dust off the excess, shake it off, tap it off, whatever. You don't want it to fall out onto your skin. And I'm gonna just darken that outer corner, and I'm just tapping it. I'm not swiping it, I'm just tapping it just on that outer corner. I'm gonna do the other side, same thing. And because we're blending it into the brown that's already there, it's gonna make it even softer. This is a very forgiving technique, so if you have any little mess ups, guess what? We're gonna just blend it all out and it's gonna be fine. You can really start seeing that pinup shape coming in, and it took very little effort. But what I'm gonna do is, on my little napkin, whatever, on my little towel here, wipe off the excess. Now it's clean. And I'm just gonna start a little further out on the liner and come down. So then I'm picking up the extra as I'm going down and just kind of blending it that way. And then I'm gonna work it into the lash line. Make sure you're not going all the way across the lid. I'm literally blending it down into the lash line. And at that point, I am pulling my lid tight just because I'm blending. I already have the color placed where I want it to be, and I'm just blending. Wiping the extra off again. I'm gonna come over to this side and do the same. And as I'm blending it down to the lash line, it is pulling it in just a little bit, which is going to contribute to a little bit more of that wing liner shape, but it's still going to be very soft. So you see now the liner is kind of on the outer third of my eye, and then it wings out. And then you can just pop on your mascara. I really like Erin Parsons' method. I saw her do a reel or YouTube short a few years ago, but you start at the ends of your lashes and then work your way in. So you do one clamp on the ends of your lashes, and then you go kind of to the middle of the lashes and clamp and squeeze again, and then you go to the base and do it again. I do like to go in with a mascara brush. This one's by Daphne Beauty, as is this scarf. Oh God. I like using this because I often have a little bit of old makeup, and that helps break up anything that might be chilling on my lashes before I go in with mascara. I love the Better Than Sex Foreplay mascara. This one is incredible for really keeping the lashes lifted and in the shape that I want them. Sorry, I just have this little baby size. I love travel size mascaras, and I'm trying to show you how I actually do my makeup, and this is how I actually do it. So it's really important that you're gonna wiggle this right at the base of your lashes. So you're gonna place it and kind of wiggle it up in there and then pull it through. It really helps define the eyes more if you can get the mascara right up at the base of the lashes. I do not have long, luxurious lashes, but I mean, look at this. Again, that's just one coat. I like to kind of like blink as I pull up. She's looking good. I'm just too shiny and I need to add some powder, so I wanted to get the rest of my concealer on before I do that. And actually, instead of using powder, before I'm really at a point of setting my makeup, when I start getting oily like this, I don't want to have all the oil later when I'm going to put powder on, because it just defeats the purpose. It's like, why not just get rid of the oil? So because I have very oily skin, I'll just use these throughout my makeup process. And then I have to use a lot less powder. I don't like to take too much oil or moisture away from the eye area, so I don't typically put these like all up in here, but I will put them out here because I tend to get a little extra oily up in that area. And I'd definitely be getting oily up on that forehead. It's like no matter what I do, it's just a little oil factory up there. Because this mascara is waterproof and I just don't want to fuss with it later in the day, I'm going to go on top of it with the Stila Huge Extreme Lash Mascara. As luck would have it, I got a little mascara on the corner of my eye. I'm going to show you how you can clean that up really easily, but you have to let it dry. Basically what you do is you let it dry and then you can flake it off. So we're just going to leave that for now. Next thing, we're going to pop on some blush. Obviously, I am a fan of Daphne Beauty. Got the scarf, got the lipstick down here, and I love this blush. I feel like this is a really pretty pinup-y blush, and it comes with a highlighter. I like to use kind of just a side of a blush brush, so I'll just one side. I'm not swirling the whole thing, I'm just tapping it, and then I'm going to take that cloth again. You can use the back of your hand if you want, and I'm just kind of pouncing it and blending it, and then I'm going to place it on my cheekbone going upward. We're not going to do the apple thing. We're not going to put it down under the cheekbone where your contour should go. If you're going to contour, you don't have to. I rarely do anymore, but I'm going to put it on the cheekbone so you can feel where your cheekbone is, yeah? We're going to put it going upward. I'm going to pull everything up. I feel like it's very important to do the blush angle going upward along with the eyeliner. It accentuates the cat eye that we've already created, or the wing liner. So what I do is I find my cheekbone, and then I'm going to take that blush brush and I'm just going to pounce it on the cheekbone because you can slowly build it. That's why I dust some of the extra off first. That is nothing. There's nothing there. I went Sean Connery. I dusted too much off. Okay, so we're gonna get some more. Pounce it. Pounce it. I use a brush that's bigger than necessary because while I'm just using a little part of it, the rest of these bristles are helping soften it out. Like I said earlier, you can definitely go for a more defined, I don't want to say harsh, but you can go for a harsher pinup look. I like mine soft, which is why I'm not really doing a lot of contouring and all that jazz. You can see that color building up. I maybe go a little 80s with it. I go up pretty high for my personal style, but you don't have to do that. And then I will go in with my foundation brush and go on the outside of where I placed the blush and blend it. And then if I feel like I put too much color, I'll go over the entire thing, and that helps it look like a very natural flush as well. I didn't really feel like I put too much, but I'm just showing you an example of if you want to lighten your blush, this is a great way to do it. When you pounce on top of it, it keeps the color where it is instead of spreading it out all over. See, it's so soft. It's like a little flirt of color. Now I'm going to show you how to get that mascara off. I like to go in with a clean spoolie, or you can use even this or this. Something that can scrape a little. So I don't want to mess up that wing liner. So I'm going to come in from above and just flake it off gently. Now I still see a little bit there on top of the liner. I think I got it. And then there's some actually on the liner. Because I don't want to mess up the line, I'm gonna scrape it kind of inward towards the lash line. Boom, she gone. Now, arguably the most important part of a pinup makeup look, the lipstick. I know it can be super intimidating. I don't want to say you should, but if you're doing pinup, a red lip is just, it's hard to beat it, you know? It just screams pinup. First things first is you're gonna take off your lip moisturizer. Whatever chapstick, Aquaphor, whatever you're using, take it off. Red lips can be super intimidating. I know it. It does not have to be perfect. It does not have to be well defined. I really like this NYX Powder Puff lipstick. I love this puffy applicator because it allows you to do a softer lip line. So you just squeeze out however much you need, hoping you can see it coming out. I'm gonna start with the majority of the color in the center of my lips. Blot it together. Get a little more. Go up on my Cupid's bow. I actually like to go in with my finger and make it even less perfect because somehow it makes it look better. This is a wonderful way to get a soft red lip. I could even add a little bit more color to this. And I'm only adding the extra color to the center of the lip because the more you add towards the outside of the lip, the more it's gonna feather out and you're gonna have to keep up with that. Now, a wonderful trick for getting your lipstick to last, especially because it's summer and you know when we start sweating and we're drinking water or other things, just take a little bit of setting powder. By the way, this is MCO Beauty. They just make dupes, I guess, and I recently tried some of their stuff and I quite like it. This is clearly a knockoff for the Charlotte Tilbury setting powder, which I've not used, but I really like this one and it's pretty cheap. So I'm just taking a small brush and I'm gonna go around my lip line and just dab it. And I do check every so often to make sure that I'm not picking up lipstick and smudging it around. And that's gonna really help keep everything in place. I'm gonna go ahead and just powder the center of my face as well so you can see how nice this is. I'll just do this half first so you can see the difference. I don't like to put setting powder usually on my cheeks. I want to keep it a little more dewy, but just so you can see the difference, I'll go ahead and set my whole face. Dude, it's so pretty. So pretty. And I do feel like that more matte porcelain skin feels a little bit more pinup, but don't be afraid to go dewy. If you prefer dewy, you do you, do, boo. You do you, boo, boo, do, boo, do, you do you, boo. And you do not have to use this red of a lip. You can definitely go with more of this is the Buxom, what are these? The full-on lipsticks. These are very sheer. You can totally go with something like this. That's just a really light wash. You're still gonna get that color. It's gonna give that pinup vibe, but you don't have to go full opaque red lip. Feel free to do something like that. You can also go with like a deeper metallic red, a vampy red. This is almost like a rusty sort of red. You can do pink, you can do nude, you can do brown, you can do whatever you want. This is just, I feel like the most iconic pinup look is wing liner, red lip. Now, if this doesn't feel quite glam enough for you, I'm gonna show you some options for how you can do it up a little bit more. First off, I would add a little bit more blush. This is a beautiful wash, but I want a little bit more. So we're gonna go in a little bit more. Now we're really getting there. And I'm gonna go ahead and use the highlighter as well. And just put that right on the high point of the cheekbone. And we're gonna define that eyeliner a little bit more. So I'm gonna go in with a pen eyeliner. This is the Danessa Myricks. I really also like the Too Faced Better Than Sex. It's probably my favorite one, and that's really easy to get. I just find that these pen style eyeliners are the easiest to do a wing liner with, especially if you're newer to it. Oh man, mine's all jacked up. I'm gonna have to cut that off or something. They're so precise. And I think because we're all used to holding pens and pencils, this just feels very natural. Sometimes with a brush, it doesn't feel as natural. Eyeliner took me a very long time to learn as a makeup artist, and these pens were not really a thing when I first started doing makeup. So I'm literally just gonna go over the line I've already created. Yeah, girl. I think this is a really great option for people who don't love a super bold lip. Keeping it soft on the lips and a little sharper on the eyes, a little more defined on the cheeks may help you feel more comfortable so you don't feel like you have as much focus on your lips. And if you want a little bit more, let me take it up one more notch. We're gonna add some wing lashes. I have already cut these in half. I've already used these several times. They probably look gross, so I'm sorry. But you see how I've cut them in half. I'm only going to use the inner part of the lash, which is the smaller part. It's still gonna wing out, but we're gonna only add it on the outer corner so we get an extra little flick out there, but our whole lid is not gonna be bothered with a false lash. My eyes are very sensitive, and if I wear false lashes out in the sun or in the wind, sometimes I just get really irritated if I have the whole lid covered, versus if I just have like a cluster on the corner, I tend to be okay. Take this little friend, get some lash glue. I really like the formaldehyde free because yeah, that's right, most lash glue has formaldehyde and all sorts of crap in it. So I like the one that is, this is formaldehyde and latex free. I do feel like the latex free one is more sticky, which I also like, but it does make it harder to get off. And then when you're trying to clean it off later, it's a little goopy. So be aware of that. I definitely recommend using some lash tweezers if you have them. A lot of false lashes will come with a kit that includes them. You can also use regular tweezers. Sorry, there's some old glue on here from the last time I wore them. I'm just gonna pick that off. And I'm applying some glue. Most people use the Duo Black, which is totally fine. This is not gonna affect anything. Use whatever glue you like. And you want to wait for the glue to be a little bit tacky so it sticks as soon as you stick it on. If you put it on while it's still super wet and slippery, it'll kind of slide around on your eyelid, and that's extra not good when you have hooded eyelids like I do. Now this is a part where looking down into a mirror can be helpful because it's going to help you relax your eye, but you'll still be able to see where you're placing it. So you just want to line up the end of the lash with the end of your eye. Oh yeah, that's good. And then I just kind of push it on with my fingers to make sure it's fully touching my lid. And I like to add a little bit of a lift. So you can, I don't know if you can see here, but it's not sitting right on my lash line. I've lifted it up a little bit. That black liner is going to conceal the gap between my natural lash line and where I'm putting the false lashes. That's going to add an extra lifted effect. You like it? A little bit of extra drama on the corner. Y'all, I have been filming this tutorial for almost 2 hours. I'm so out of practice with doing this kind of stuff. I haven't done beauty in so long. Did I forget? Did it always take me this long? Surely it must have. Round 2. Boop, boop, be doop. I just love also these tweezers have this fat grip right here. Makes it easier on the fingers than regular tweezers. This is a little trickier because I am right-handed, so I always struggle a little bit more with the left. I say that and then it goes right on. But I have been doing this technique for quite a while, years in fact, and I've been using this particular pair of lashes a lot the last few months. That's the other thing. False lashes are reusable. Even if they don't say multi-wear or whatever, you can reuse them. You can wash them, let them dry out, put alcohol on them, pick off the old glue. There are ways to reuse them. I've used these at least 20 times, I'm sure of it. And these are just House of Lashes. They aren't even like mink or something that's super high-end. They're, I don't know, a $12 pair of lashes. And it's just the inner corner that I'm using. Remember, I cut them in half, so I haven't even used the outer half of the lashes nearly as many times. Boom, bam. Now, while that glue is drying, you want to kind of move your eyes around a little bit, not too much, but just a little bit to see if anything feels uncomfy. And this would be a great time to look down into that mirror again. See, got my mirror, looking down and seeing if anything feels like it's stuck or if any glue dripped down. I'm just combing through my lashes to keep everything smooth. combing through my real lashes, not the falsies. The glue on the falsies is still a little bit too fresh to be tugging on those lashes too much. And everything's looking pretty good. Now once you get those falsies on, sometimes that glue will still feel a little bit tacky. You can put translucent powder on top of the glue, or I like to just go in with that dark brown, that eyebrow brush again that we used for our eyeliner. Boop, 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 boop. And I'm literally just gonna press on top of it where the glue is. That also helps really push that lash onto the skin, so it grips extra. And it kind of gets rid of that sheen from the glue as well, because you know sometimes you can see where the glue is on the eyelid. It's just like I got that little shiny bit. What are my fingers doing here? I'm just like, I'm dancing. I don't know, a little boot scootin' boogie. Oh yeah, you like my little boot earrings? If it was really bothering you, if like say you have a really shiny eyeliner that you use for the black, you can just go over the lash with that so that the textures match. It doesn't bother me. I like it more kind of matte than shiny, so it's all right, but I'll just show you what I mean. You see? Next level pinup is going to require a stark red lip, okay? Or whatever color you want, but we're going to do red on this one. So I'm going to use my Daphne Beauty, I don't know what the color is on this. I love this. It wears so well. It is my favorite liquid lipstick. I bought the Helvis one. I actually bought two so I could put one in my kit and have a backup. I bought two because I wanted one for my kit and then I wanted to have one personally. And because I actually put this on my lips, I can't use it on my clients. You should pay attention to that. If your makeup artists are ever using the actual applicator on your mouth or wherever, like mascara tube, if the actual applicator of a product is touching your skin, they should not be using it on anyone else. They should be giving it to you, really, or throwing it away. When I use these in my kit, I pull this out and I put it onto a palette and then I put it onto the client. I never, ever touch this onto my client and then put it back in and then use it on someone else and put it back in. Because what are you doing? Cross-contaminating. What did we learn during COVID? Apparently some makeup artists learned nothing. And that shit pisses me off because I care about people's health. You can get literal herpes from cross-contaminating. You can get all sorts of eye infections, not to mention like flu, COVID, or bacterial infections, other viruses, stomach bugs, just stuff that nobody needs or wants. Now, I think the key with liquid lipstick is to keep your lips taut while you're putting it on. You want to keep them as stretched out as you can until the lipstick really starts to dry. That way it doesn't start settling into your fine lines and everything around your mouth. And you can start on the bottom or top. I just like to start on the bottom. That's just me. I also like to wipe off the extra before I start putting it on my mouth, so I'm not going too crazy with too much color. And I work very, very slowly. And I'm quite the perfectionist, so I like to keep a little small brush to clean up as I go. I mean, tell me that doesn't scream pin-up girl. You can totally do a lip liner first if you want. You can use like a lip primer. I just like to go straight on with the liquid lip. And if you want it to last all damn day, let me show you what I do for that. So we're gonna blot anything extra off. And then I'm gonna go in with some translucent setting powder. This is called Ket Set, but you can use any translucent setting powder. I'm gonna use a little triangle powder puff. Powder? You don't have to have a black one. It doesn't have to be a little triangle. You can use a regular plain white powder puff and get it coated pretty well. I'm gonna put it on my skin and get it evened out on there. And then, this is where it gets good. Put your lips together so you don't get powder in your mouth. Set it and forget it. It's gonna feel gross at first, don't get me wrong. This is gonna dry your lips out too, but this is worth it for it to last all freaking day. We're gonna do another layer. A whole bunch there. Look at all that powder. And you wanna make sure you get outside your lip line too, because that's gonna really help it not feather out into those tiny fine lines around your lips. There's no red on there, so I'm good. We're gonna get some more. I know this seems crazy, but it totally works. I'm gonna put on another layer. You can do this with regular lipstick as well. I used this technique when I went out to Viva Las Vegas in April. I was out there for about 12 hours, and when I got home, my lips looked just as good as when I went and I ate there. I had stuff to drink. I was talking all day. I was out in the sun. It works so well. Yes, my lips were dry by the end of the day and the next day, but if you want long wear lipstick for the whole dang day, this is a great way to do it. On this pass, I'm not gonna go all the way to the edge of my lip because I want less chance of things bleeding. So I'm gonna keep it more in the center and then blend it outward. Keep the bulk of the product to the center of the lips. And then blend it outward. Now I love the way this looks. I'm so happy with this as a whole. However, if I was shooting or I just want a little bit more definition under my eyes, I don't always want to add mascara. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that medium brown, again, the one we used for our eyeliner earlier, on this just tiny little brush, and I'm going to just pop a little bit under the eye here. And I'm only going about halfway, and I'm blending it all the way to that wing liner, but only going about halfway in. And look what that's done. It doesn't feel crazy, it's nothing dramatic, but it definitely adds more definition over there and a little bit just extra like oomph, you know? If you want to make it a little bit more of that kind of playful, like big-eyed pinup, go with a white eyeliner. This is actually the Sephora Colorful Shadow and Liner, and you're gonna add this just in the waterline. A lot of people do this all the way across the waterline. Nothing wrong with that. I really like to pop it just in the center. Blend that. And then I'm gonna go and redefine that brown because sometimes that white goes down a little bit too far. And it just looks a little more, I don't know, artificial. Obviously it's artificial, we're wearing makeup, but I think when you go back with that brown, it helps make it more seamless. Look at that. Love it. Wait, you still want more? You still want more? Okay, we're gonna add some glitter. I love this so much. Obviously, we're gonna go with red because why not? I really like to just use my fingers on this one. So we're just gonna dab it. And yes, you can use this on your eyes as well. We're not going to today, but you can. And I have, and it's so pretty. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I mean, oh. So pretty. So pretty. Now, if you want to get that glitter all the way to the edge of the lip line, I usually don't care. I like having a little bit of a softer lip line. Take a little brush and dip it in there. And then just dab it up there. That's so good. I love it so much. And there you have it. There's a whole range of pinup makeup options from really, really easy to what we have ended up with, which is much more glamorous. You know, I almost feel like I want a little extra highlight. No. We'll call it good. We're good. That's the problem, is I can always keep going. I'm like, oh, I want a bigger wing liner. Oh, I want this, I want that. Anyhow, I'm done, I think. No, I'm looking at it and I really want to keep adding, but I'm done. It's so good. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to try to answer them. I am going to be doing more tutorials and YouTube videos. I don't know how long it's going to be before I can actually get up another makeup tutorial because I'm swamped with things coming up, but let me know what you're interested in. I can do more pinup looks. I can do a variety of other looks because I am not just a pinup girl. I do a lot of different styles and, you know, I love me some 80s. I love me some every genre, but I would say 50s and 80s are probably my favorite, I think, if I'm gonna go like vintage, you know, for decades and stuff like that. But yeah, let me know what else you'd like to see because I wanna keep doing this.